Mr. Lee, what's going down?
What's going down, man?
Hey, man, you here, baby?
Yeah, bro. It's a blessing, man, to be here.
Yeah. What's going down, man? Nipsey, because that starts with the Got to Be a G instrumental, right?
Nipsey, yep. That's where Nipsey ended up doing the mixtape record to Gotta Be a G. I discovered Iggy Azalea on MySpace when she was 16. Because of him. In the world, who doesn't? We got, man, I mean, Houston got
we got it out here, man.
We the mecca, man. We got that whole shit right now, man.
Can you talk about this shit? Because Houston was on before Atlanta. Motherfucker,
Yeah.
you can't look at it now and tell that, but
Bro,
Houston
we the hustle city of the United States, man. Ain't no niggas out hustling, man.
Subscribe to the Donnie Houston podcast, man.
It's Mr. Lee, man. Make sure y'all check out the Heartbeat of the South, man. The Donnie Houston show. Y'all know y'all can't do shit without looking at that,
man. Yeah, man, it's going down to Donnie Houston podcast. I am Donnie Houston. Check it out, man. I got my co-host, special guest co-host, Sama'an back in the building with me. And we got a special guest today, man. When we talk about sound architects, when we talk about creators of what we know is the H-Town sound, the Texas sound, you know what I mean? When we talk about, Scarface, and we talk about, Rap A Lot, and we talk about Slim Thug and J-Dog and Lil Keke and Nipsey Hussle, be outside of Texas, you know what I mean? We even gonna talk about the Backstreet Boys, you know what I mean? Hey, man,
yes, sir.
This man has done it all. He has produced more records than I could ever name in one sitting. As a producer, I can say I spent many, days and nights, man, just listening to him and soaking up that sound, man, and just being infused by what he was bringing, man, and still bringing to this day, man. And it's only one guy, Mr. Lee. What's going down?
What's going down, man?
Hey, man, you here, baby?
Yeah, bro. It's a blessing, man, to be here.
Yeah. What's going down, man?
And, just getting old and gracefully and just, doing my thing, just staying on top of things, and still love the music, still doing it every day. It's like doing push-ups. I'm doing 10, 15 tracks a day still.
Wait. Nah.
A day?
You're not still cooking up at that level.
Man, I ain't even working every day. I got about 160 right now in my pocket.
Okay. 10, 15 beats a day, 25 plus years in the game. How do you continue to be motivated to want to cook like that?
Man, just creating from the soul, man. It's all about the feel, It's not like a certain type of vibe I'm looking for, or I'm trying to pinpoint something. If I'm feeling a way, it's going to come out in the music that day. So that's how I'm able to maintain and just keep doing it over and over.
And too, I mean, you sent me a record the other day with Fred Hammond, like you dipping into that gospel and like fusing that gospel and hip hop super tough and putting that Texas stamp on that sound, bro.
Yeah. Just trying to, I want to give some good vibes to the music. You know what I'm saying? I think right now in the day and time that we're in, we need to provide good vibes and not have somebody, somebody that can be touched by something that has a vibe to it that they can use in the time that they need to use, you know what I mean? So that's what made me really go into it.
Yeah. What would you consider to say the start of your actual career is? What year would you say that?
What year? It probably had to be like 1992, man, really. Well, I take that back. 1990 is when I first started doing rap music with my homies 4 Deep in Alexandria. And once I did that, that's when I moved to Houston and started in 92, the Rap A Lot.
So you go to Rap A Lot at 92.
Yeah.
What are you doing in 92 at Rap A Lot?
92.
Because it's crazy. In 92, I mean, they over there, they're a well-oiled machine, and it's some heavy hitters over there, too.
I mean, I got my feet wet going to big-time records. They let me do a couple of records with Point Blank. That's where I got my first placement as a producer.
Okay, what record was that?
I don't even remember what it was. But Point Blank was one of the first artists I ever worked with. Shout out to Point Blank. I was at X-Bam, and, I got humbled at X-Bam. I tried to do some stuff. My beats was horrible. It wasn't mixed right. It was distorted. Man, they had the cassette player at X-Bam. They laughed my ass up out of there. They laughed my ass out of there.
Okay, producer nerd talk. What are you using in 92?
Man, 92, I was on a TS12 and an ASR 10.
Ooh.
So that was the Sonic was what I was on then. And then I had a little Boss drum machine at the time.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I was on that. When I got to Rap A Lot, that's when I got to the R8 and started working with the Roland and, just started getting into it then. Started working 808s.
How tough was it for you to get in with Rap a Lot? Because I think it may have been Sykes that told me, man, when I met Mr. Lee, like he was cooking up like in like a closet or something.
Yeah.
Like you really like earned your way in that.
Real
you know
talk. I mean, it wasn't hard though, man. Once Big Chief discovered me,
shout out to Big Chief, man.
Yeah, you got to shout out to Big Chief. That's like the father, my hip hop father, man. You know what I mean? That's how much I look up to him and admire him and respect him. You know what I'm saying? Without him, it wouldn't be no Mr. Lee, period. You know, I was discovered by him. And that's how I got to Rap a Lot. I was his producer. He had signed me to his production company.
Because Chief had his own situation back then.
Right. And that's how I got started.
No shit.
Yeah.
So you getting over there, what are the first records that you started touching at Rap a Lot?
Man, the first, I think the first records I ever started working on was with Too Much Trouble and Gangsta Nip. I started working with them first. And then after that, I went into the Fifth Ward Boyz, and that's what really pushed the doors open for me. And when people started hearing the records that we were doing, that's when I got in the studio with Scarface.
Okay. If you had to describe early Rap a Lot studio sessions, environments, what was that like?
Man, it was one of the dopest vibes ever in life. To this day, I really have not experienced a better vibe with a better set of people ever in a studio. I can't find them. You know what I mean? Like the Fifth Ward Boyz, we were so in tune to working and creating. Scarface, of course, is a musical genius. Just sitting around and watching things transform from the ground to the actual song was something special, really, to see.
So what were the Fifth Ward Boy records before PWA? Because I know that's the big one that really,
I did one called Something to Ride To, Take It Like a Player. Man, it's a couple of months, man. I did some
just jams.
I just cannot name all of them, but shout out to E-Rock and 007 and my boy, you know what I mean, my cousin, Low Life, you know what I'm saying? So it's like they groomed me, fam, because when I got around them, I was busting speakers, tweeters, all kind of shit, because I didn't know what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? But they stood in the studio with me, bro. We was working in a room that didn't have no heat, because the warehouse that they was building the studio in wasn't all the way built yet. So they weathered the storm with me out there and actually gave me the opportunity to learn on the job. And without the Fifth Ward Boyz, I can clearly say without them working with me also and being in there and giving me a chance, a lot of things wouldn't have transpired either. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a lot of little bitty parts of Rap a Lot that made me who I am. You know what I'm saying? It took everybody. The first producer that I met before I got to Rap a Lot was John Beto. Because I met his brother Ted at Sharpstown. They had a condo behind Sharpstown Mall. And I met Ted, and Ted introduced me to John. That's really how I started sampling records.
So you weren't sampling before then?
Nah, I was a church musician, fam. I ain't know nothing about sampling records.
Okay, so you didn't tell me that. So you were already kind of trained up in music, and then you got into production.
Yeah, I was playing the music for my church since I was 9 years old.
That makes complete sense now.
That's why you hear all of that orchestrated stuff and the pianos and organs. That's where they come from.
It makes complete sense now.
Yeah.
You just made a bunch of shit make sense. Okay. Okay. So is PWA, talk about PWA.
PWA.
Is that the first single?
It was a Mary Jane remix. That wasn't really intended to be a PWA record. It didn't make the remix. And then 007 and E-Rock got the record. And the PWA came in the form, bro.
Okay, were you working with Face before that? Or did you look at that like, man, this is my opportunity to get one in with Face, and then it becomes this other thing, which came out to be great, but...
Basically what it was is I had a chance to do a remix, and I, took my shot at it, but it just, it didn't work, you know what I'm saying? So PWA came, and that's history.
And it's crazy because as a DJ, I've always mixed those two records.
That's why. They're the same exact keys, same tempo, everything, same feel. The drum feel that I got came from a producer named Tone Capone from Oakland.
Tone Capone.
That's another guy that mentored me too, you know what I'm saying? So I had a little piece of the West Coast in me from him. That was a guy that I looked up to highly when he was in Rap a Lot. We used to ride around all the time, and Tone used to always, just give me a lot of advice and hype me up to do things, you know what I'm saying? So, shout out to Tone too, man. He don't get enough flowers either. Tone is a brilliant producer, bro.
And like you said, heavy hand in that Rap a Lot era within that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, How does PWA change for you? Because now you got a single, it's a hot record in the streets, video, all that. Did you go to the video shoot?
Yeah, they took me seriously. I didn't go to the video shoot. I didn't go. But once that PW record kind of took a presence and they saw what it was doing, that's when Mr. Lee became Mr. Lee, really. You know what I'm saying? People started to take me seriously, and they was like, okay, he's dope. He got dope records. He know what he's doing. And I started running the studio over at, I think it was like a North Post Oak or something like that. We had a studio called Knock Hard. So I started running that studio, and I was running the whole thing. I was running 2 rooms at one time.
So you had already got the engineering and all that back then?
Yeah, I got the engineering down and the whole beat, making beats, 10 beats a day. I was doing it then. And that came about, I'll never forget this day, man. I was at Knock Hard working, and I had made a track, and it was fire. And I was walking out of the studio to get a bottle of water, and Big Chief was in the break room, and I said, man, I just made a hard-ass track. You need to come hear this track. It's crazy. Man, nigga looked at me and said, man, go make another.
He didn't listen about fight.
He didn't allow me to gloat about it. He didn't allow me to say nothing. He was like, go make another one.
But that's what builds that thing in you to not hang your hat on that. And
exactly. That's why I have the work ethic that I have today. That he installed that work ethic in me. He didn't let me gloat about shit. He's like, man, that you done the track. That's over with. Now what? You gonna do something else? You know what I mean? And that's where I got that work ethic from.
Man, so you talking about PWA? This is 90. I never forget that. That's 97.
Yep.
I never forget when that shit came out. So what is it? How do you start moving around rap a lot now? Like,
I became the go-to producer then. You know what I mean? Because my work ethic was so crazy. You know what I'm saying? I stayed in the studio 12, sometimes 24 hours. And I'm working. And I'm recording everybody. I'm doing everything that's possibly humanly can be done. You know what I'm saying? So every time they needed somebody there, I was there. No matter what. As soon as somebody come in town, they need a track done. The whole thing was putting them in the studio with me because it take me 10, 15 minutes. I'm going to come up with that track real quick.
Were y'all ever working together? Like I know N.O. Joe and Mike Dean crossed up sometime doing stuff. N.O. Joe and Face and Mike Dean. You know what I mean? Because there was so much talent around there. Like,
yep. Especially when we're working on the Scarface records, we all work together. You know what I'm saying? That's when I really started to, my craft started to come into place, and I started to understand a lot of things, like music theory. I learned all of that stuff watching Mike Dean and frequencies on how to separate sounds from mixing. All of that stuff, I watched Mike Dean do it for years. The drums and 808s and all of that stuff came from N.O. Joe. The organs, how to really use the organs, came from me watching N.O. Joe and listening to Pimp C. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at me and you say, hey, Mr. Lee is like the sound of Houston, that's why. Because I embodied all of that information. All that information into one person.
So, okay, you said Scarface. Is this My Homies album, or what album are we on with Face?
Yeah, it was the My Homies. I ended up doing like 13 songs on My Homies. I was a rookie.
Okay, how was the money back then? Because everybody always talks about that 90s music money. How was that? Or was it a learning period for you to figure out how to really get everything that you?
You know what's so crazy, man? And I'm gonna go on the record and say this because I gotta represent my homies, man. A lot of people say a lot of things about rap a lot, bro. And you know what I mean? And a lot of that shit don't really be true. You know, about people not getting paid. Fam, I went to rap a lot, and I was walking, bro. When I'm telling you I was walking, I didn't have enough money to buy chips out of a vending machine. I was that broke. You feel me? Like 90 to like 4 months later, I was riding in a BMW, bro. A 750 IL BMW at that. In 4 months. From engineering and making tracks. Nobody pays that way right now. The majors, they got 45-day nets, 60-day nets. Bro, I was getting right now, man. If a nigga breathed on my track and rap a lot, half of that money was coming in my pocket right then and there, bro. Wow. And it was breaking bread. I went from $500 a track the first year I was at Rap A Lot, from $5,000 to $5,000 to $10,000 and sometimes $15,000. I was averaging about $100,000 a project, bro. Engineering money, I was making about $3,200 a week. Engineering alone, fam. I was losing checks. They was having to send the checks back to Rap A Lot. I was dropping them on the ground, bro. Yo, real talk. 23 years old, I built my first house from the ground, 6,000 square feet in Sienna Plantation. It's still sitting there.
First crib in Sienna.
First crib.
Get the fuck out of here.
On the run, fam.
Okay, because I was gonna ask you about that. I know you had some shit going on.
Yeah.
That's why I was gonna ask you about that. What was all of that about?
Man, being from Louisiana, trying to hustle, and all the weed and shit was coming from Houston. My partner stayed here in Houston, and we was coming back, going to Louisiana with the weed. Got caught in Anaway. I was already on probation, so I ran. You know what I'm saying? I ran like a motherfucker. Came back to Houston, couldn't go back to Louisiana, so Houston became my home. And then, the music stuff, I just used everything that I had musically to make my money. Man, I was sitting out in the middle of a field in Anaway where gators and all kind of shit was at. And no joke, bro, I was on my knees and I prayed and I asked God, I said, if you deliver me from this, I will never go back to it again. And I suffered through whatever I had to suffer through. And here I am, bro.
So how long did it take you to come out of that? And how did you come out of it?
10 years, bro. I had got into it with somebody, and man, I was about to do some dumb shit, really. I was on some street shit. I was about to do some stupid shit, and God intervened, and I got pulled over before I can go get to my gun and go confront a dude that I had no business doing it. Stupid shit, just like people do now. And I got pulled over, bro. And when I got pulled over, they locked me up, and I went back to Anahuac, and I stayed there for like 40 days because they couldn't find my records. At the time, it was all ink and cards. Wasn't no computer stuff then. So I had to find my records. Once they found it, thank God I had a family that was behind me, the Jamel family. Joe Jamel's son, Randall Jamel, is the godfather of my kids. He got an Enron attorney to represent me, and I got off of those charges. They gave me like 100 days of community service, and that was it.
So what year is this when you get off?
I think it was like 96, 97.
Oh, so
right
before the shit starts popping?
Yeah, right after. Probably like 97, right after 97, because I built my house in 97, and I had my house then. So it had been like 97.
Damn. What's your favorite session from the Rap Lot era? Because it was a lot of talent, but it was also some characters over there.
Man, working on that My Homies album, in the Last to Die and Breed album was probably one of the most memorable moments for me, because Face is one of the biggest assholes there ever is, bro. They had this shit called Spundu. I don't know if y'all know what that shit is. We'll go and order our food and shit. I'll never forget this shit, man. Then Joe had got a burger from Bob's Big Boy in L.A. And he took his time and he put that fucking burger together, bro. That motherfucker looked like it was off the TV.
Oh, when you knocked him off,
man, he got that shit in his hand and face. Shit flew all over the patty, rolling on the floor. He was high. He did that shit to everybody. Every single day, somebody was getting popped with that shit. Every day, bro. So we had a lot of fun working with dude, man. But then there was a lot of times where Face was like so meticulous about mixes and the way shit sound. We had did a record, and me, Mike Dean, and N.O. Joe, we thought that record was it, bro. It sound good. We thought it was it, man. Face came in the studio, bro. He listened to that shit for like 2 minutes and walked up to the board and pushed all the faders down.
Start from scratch.
Start over. That ain't it.
Could y'all hear what was missing?
At the time we couldn't, but after we finished it, the final version we knew that. And that's
the genius of Scarface.
And I love him for that because he pushed us so hard until now. I expect that from myself. You know what I'm saying? That's why the records that I have last so long and they be sampled so many times and stuff like that, because he demanded so much out of us himself until we started self-demanding ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So that was a big part of me being who I am too.
You talking about Last of a Dying Breed? That's like 2000, somewhere up in there.
Yeah.
Talk about, because now you're starting to get into what becomes like your next leg in your career, and really what I feel like really making it, like the Mr. Lee thing.
Yeah.
Getting with Slim, and now we getting into these newer artists from Houston. You know what I mean? Talk about that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I linked up with Slim and Kiki.
At the same time?
Yeah, pretty much. I think Kiki was kind of a little bit before Slim, and then I linked up with Slim.
No shit. It always, to me, in my mind, I feel like you got with Kiki afterwards.
Nah, I got with Kiki first. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I got with Kiki first, and then when I got with Slim, me and Slim ended up being we started our shit like family after that.
You did the big unit.
Yep.
That's what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So that was a
forgot
collab
about
album,
that.
right?
Yeah,
That
it was
was
a
Yes.
collab, album,
Yeah.
but I knew Kiki already. You know what I mean? Right before all of that.
You had a relationship with Kiki before then?
Yeah.
So how'd you know Kiki before then?
Just being on the South Side, you know what I'm saying? Fucking around with different people that he knew.
But y'all weren't doing music. It was just more of a personal relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the very first rapper that I met when I came to Houston was Zero.
No shit.
Yeah, I stayed off of Bissonnette. Zero stayed with Mickey a lot of times off of Beach Nut. And I used to walk down to Mickey's house because Mickey had a little studio set up. And Ro was making beats and shit over there too. And that's who I met first. Like the very first rapper I ever met was Zero.
Wait, before Rap A Lot and all this shit.
Before Rap A Lot.
You must have been like a kid.
Yeah. Smooth face Tony, Zero.
Wow.
That's why, you know, we got that love-hate shit, but at the end of the day, that's still my little brother, you know what I'm saying? And it's going to always be that way.
Yeah.
It's going to always be that way. Before Rap A Lot even knew who Zero was or it was fucking with Zero, I knew who he was. I was already cool.
But in that generation of artists, the Big Unit would be your first probably.
Yeah, my first project that I ever done. Yeah.
Talk about that because that came after like the ESG thing, and I remember walking in the sound waves and being like, "Wow, Slim Thug and Kiki got an album together." Like that was such a big deal, even though it went under the radar. Kind of feel like, but it's one of them things of like if you know the Big Unit, you know.
Yeah, the Big Unit kind of it lost position and stuff because at the time we was getting ready to put that record out, Southwest was going through their thing where they was collapsing and closing up. So we really didn't have a budget to put it out. I put it out through Rap A Lot, but I didn't have a budget to do the promo and all of that stuff. We sold like 15,000 copies.
So you headed that project basically?
Yeah, I did the whole thing. I rapped on every song. I made every track. Mike Dean mixed it for me. You know what I'm saying? So that was my way of really starting my own brand. You know, being a standalone producer and just not a Rap A Lot producer. That was my first time saying, okay, I want to step out and make my own brand and make my name a brand. You know what I'm saying? So that's really what I was doing it for.
And then y'all went on to continue to make just classics.
And me and Ray Face and Slim, you know what I mean, and Lil Keke, those are my brothers. You know what I mean? Like out of all of these years, we just rock out like that. It's been a very dope journey just watching all of us from young men to getting older. You know, Slim in his 40s now. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. I'm in my 50s. I got grandkids. Rayface got grandkids. You know, Slim got grown kids, look like him when he was younger. It's like crazy to be able to enjoy that type of monotony where you can see your homies get old and have kids and grandkids and shit. So that's a blessing, especially in this day and time for real.
Y'all tell me about this because I've been told a few times that y'all did Three Kings before the deal, you know, before everything popped off. Like, tell me about those sessions. Was Slim coming to you like preparing for that moment, or he was just like, I want to do some new music and me and you work well together?
We were just recreating, fam. It wasn't no, hey Lee, I want you to make this type of beat. They'll come to the studio, and like I said, I make tracks in 10 minutes. Bro, we was doing the Boss Hog Outlaws and Slim. We were probably doing about 5, sometimes almost 10 songs a day, bro. Like we was in there grinding, fam. Grinding hard. You know what I'm saying? Like we wasn't playing no games. So, you know, we was making songs back to back to back to back. Sometimes I make a beat in the A room, they start recording. I go in the B room and make another beat and set it up for some other artists to record in there. That's how we was working it.
So, okay. When y'all were doing that, did you ever think that these was gonna be these timeless records, or it was just like, man, we in the lab, we cooking up, we making jams and this whatever?
I knew, fam. I mean, first of all, you know, anybody, you had to be a super blind motherfucker to not see that Slim was a star. You know what I mean? He had the statue, the look, the vibe. He had all of that, the confidence to do it. I had no doubt, fam. And then, the tone of his voice is something that you just can't miss. It's just like Kiki. You cannot miss Kiki tone in his voice, fam. And ain't nobody else can do that. So, those guys, I know what they were capable of doing. That's why I invested my time and I never left Houston and took up, somewhere else. Because I could have easily went to LA or New York or Miami and, based my career there, but I didn't do that.
And, I mean, it wouldn't have made sense though, because I mean, you'd have missed the rush, and you was right there in the middle of it when the shit went down.
Yeah.
Did you know that was coming? Like,
I knew, man.
What made you say like, okay, Houston getting ready to be on?
it wasn't even about Houston being on. It was just about the artists that I was working with. When you're in there producing those records and you seeing them come together, you got to, mind you, you got to remember, I just told you how the stuff was with Scarface. So I knew what his felt like. So when I started doing records with them, I knew what they felt like, man. The Chunk Up the Deuce, when T. Ferris came in with that record, and we worked on that record, I knew what it felt like. He knew what it felt like. You know what I'm saying? We know. When you get that feeling, you know what it is. You just keep pushing and mashing the gas. And it was just crazy how when the right people got a hold of it, it was over.
Yeah, you go, man.
Man, one thing for me, especially from that era, is I feel like, and this is before I looked in all the credits and stuff, I always felt like Slim sounded so good over some horn samples. And then I go back and look at some of my favorite Slim songs, and that's You.
Yeah.
So was that like conscious, or how did you approach like getting those records with Slim?
And you know, I got a weird way of making tracks and feeling them. I'm always hearing the person when I'm making it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So when I got that Betty Wright sample, I knew that when he got on that record, it was gonna be a problem. I could tell, you know what I'm saying? I can hear him on it. And when he got on it, it was crazy, bro.
Man, like, cause I feel like probably when you slowed that sample down and those horns got to sounding so big, you need someone with a big persona that can match that, you know?
Yeah.
And there's only really one answer.
That was the first time I ever got on and did some DJ shit. I scratched on that record. You know? I didn't know what the fuck I was
Lil Jon,
doing. I didn't know what I was doing, man. I got
it worked. Yeah.
It took me an hour to figure that shit out. Slim was laughing his ass off. I'm trying to scratch the shit in. He's laughing and shit. I'm like, man, let me get this shit. I had brought me one of those little DJ things and shit. I was like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. But it came out good, though.
Oh, it came out real good.
Came out good.
But I gotta be honest, my favorite song from Already Platinum was Diamonds.
Yeah.
Because that shit just sounded so hard, man. Like, unbelievable. And there was another case where it's like there's only one person who could rap on that.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what you remember from making that song?
Man, that song has a lot of history tied to it too. Because I was kind of upset, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, man.
Okay.
When he got with the Pharrell shit, I was like, man, what are we doing, fam? Like, this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? So they flew me back into LA to finish up the album. That was like one of the first tracks. I made that track on the airplane, bro, on my laptop.
Wow.
And I got there and we recorded that record slow.
Right.
And then we sped it back up. That's why his voice is so deep on that record.
Wow. I've been wondering about, because it doesn't sound like any of the other.
No, that's why it's like that.
So when you say you recorded it slow, it was at a lower BPM.
Slower.
And he was rapping slower.
Yeah. He was rapping his regular voice. No, we did it faster, then we slowed it back down.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We recorded it to tape.
It really sounds like, of all the songs, to me, it's the most Houston song on the album. Because it sounds like an homage to Screw and Swisher House and all this stuff.
Yeah, that was the vibe. And, you know, I mean, I got my vindication that night. Pharrell's manager was there. And when he heard that record, he went crazy. And he's like, man, this is your sound right here, Slim. This is your sound. And, you know, we just like brothers, we got the shit together and history was made.
Man, some of my favorite records, like, for real.
Yeah.
For real.
Man, I had my first Mr. Lee memory is Bun's album had just came out. I came to Houston. I had a friend of mine. I'm gonna shout him out. Shout out Platinum Hands, man. My boy Talib. We went to Sam Houston together. And he was in production before I was still DJing. He had got in production around this time. And we were talking about that. We nerding out about the shit. And I'm like, dog, but Get Through? Nigga, that shit is crazy. And he was like, man, that's that Mr. Lee. I said, Mr. Lee? He said, man, that's Mr. Lee, man. He started running them down. I said, oh, wait, that's... And ever since then, bro, it's like, that's that Mr. Lee. Even with the... See, what sound is this? Because it's the... dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, that's a roll for the delay.
That's the key. Like, if I hear that, I know you did the shit.
And that's my key sound. When I hear other people do it, I laugh. I'm like, okay, y'all listen.
No, you can't steal that. You can't steal
I hear it, bro. I'm like, okay. And the synth stuff too, all of the synth sounds and the tracks, I was doing that shit in the 90s, fam. Like, I hear the runners do it and other people that do it. And I'm like, okay. You know, even when I had my big brother Mike Dean use it, you know what I'm saying? I've been doing the synth shit for years,
Man, do you have a favorite time from that album? Because that was a big deal for Bun. Like that was like
Man, that you know what, bro?
Like,
that record had so much history with it because it was done earlier. It didn't come out till like a year and a half, 2 years later. The original song was done in 1992. That song came out from Rolling Hard Disc Recorder, fam. That was the first track that I ever made.
Get Throwed?
Yeah.
It came from, what do you say it came
from? A hard disc rolling recorder.
So you just had that sitting for over a decade.
It was sitting for since 1992. I got the hard disc recorder. Shout out to Skip Holman. He transferred it over to Digital Performer. That's what I was working on. And that's how I ended up making the track. That was the first beat I ever made on a computer.
That is crazy.
Real talk.
Okay, what part of that beat was that? It couldn't have been the whole beat.
The whole beat, bro.
No,
none of that shit is nothing. No real instruments in there nowhere.
From 92.
That guitar sound came from a program called Virtual Guitarist. That's where it came from. I used another program from Native Instruments called Intact, and those sounds that you're talking about, the road stuff, came from Sample Tank. It's crazy that I made that beat that long ago, and I know every sound that I did. The drums, I play those drums live, all the way from the beginning to the end. That's why they kept playing. That's why they kept changing.
You showing off, man. Stop it.
I promise you. That's why they kept. If you listen to it now, that I'm telling you this, the drum pattern changed all through the beat because I was playing it live like a drummer. No shit.
Come on.
I swear that's what it was. It took 2 years kind of because that beat was ahead of its time, bro. You got to remember, like we on some country rap tunes, gangster, funk type shit. So a motherfucker coming off some rock guitars. You know what I'm saying? I did the shit with Slim. I think I might have did that shit with Slim earlier. And I remember Slim like, man, what the fuck? I'm a rapper. I don't want to be no rock star. I was like, nigga, yeah, you do. You know what I'm saying? But it was just introduce them to different sounds. Like even to this day, I give Slim tracks, and this nigga would hit me with a track list for an album he getting ready to do, and the beats he sent me that he wanted, some shit I did 2-3 years ago.
So that guitar, was that like a stab sound, or like or did you chop? Like how does it like?
It was basically like strums that were already programmed in this program, and I did the keyboard. Yeah.
But then you did that again on the ABN album, though.
Mm-hmm.
Did you sample Get Throwed, or did you go back to those sounds?
I went back to that sound and did it again.
Wow.
And then I did it again on the Dwele album, too. Dwele got a Get Throwed remake on his shit.
Who else did Get Throwed?
What's his version called?
Busta Rhymes, Drake. If you go on iTunes and type in Get Throwed remix.
Is that your most sampled? Is that one of your most sampled records, or do you have something else that's been used?
Yeah, that Three Kings is, and of course, Get Throwed is at the top. Every time I look around, Get Throwed is getting used somewhere every day.
Okay, you did that beat in '92.
No, I didn't know the record was actually recorded in 1992. I did the track like in 2001, 2002.
Wait, so what do you mean by that? Like
the track was Pimp C's vocals.
That's what I was getting to, that verse. What is that? That verse comes from before.
Was recorded in 1992, fam.
That's crazy.
That's how old it was. I'm telling you, bro. This shit was on the fucking hard disc recorder, bro. It was a throwaway song, man. I promise you. That's how dope that nigga is, man. It was. So
you just got this Pimp C verse.
Yeah.
And y'all built this incredible timeless record around
all this shit. When I built that beat around it and I played it, that's why I was so into it. That's why it's so meticulous and the way it sound, man. The vibe was just, it couldn't have been a better vibe to put together to that. And I gloated every day that I made. I listen to that shit every day. Even now, I glow when I hear it now. When I hear them guitars coming, I'm like, yeah.
I did that motherfucker.
I see Drake come on stage. Yeah. That's me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just a rewarding feeling to know that you created a sound that everybody want to be a part of.
Can you talk about finding out that Jay-Z was going to get on that song? Like, what was that like?
It was cool, but I had already did records with Jay-Z.
With Face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
I was in the studio, bro, and we was playing The Last of the Dying Breed. Damn near every song I did on Last of the Dying Breed, when they was playing them songs, Jay-Z was like, who did that? And then Face like, who did that? Every time, bro. Every time. And just sit there and watch this man work Man, that dude sat in front of the mixing board and just rocked his head.
That's
About
that's
5
how
or
he's
10
writing.
minutes,
Yeah,
he in the booth. He spinning that shit like he had it wrote down 2 days ago.
that's crazy.
Yeah, so there's a lot of memories working. Face opened up a lot of doors for us to experience a lot of things with his talent. He didn't have to have me there. I was a rookie, fam. Joe had suggested that I came out there, and we was going back and forth to LA, staying there for months at a time.
Shout out to Joe.
Yeah,
Shout out Mike Dean. Shout out Scarface. Shout out
all of my mentors. All of those guys are my mentors. They my OGs when it come to making tracks. Every little pieces of all of them, Scarface, Joe, Dean, Beto, Capone, they all nurtured my talent, fam. But I would never, ever mention them being a producer without saying it because I'm indebted to those guys. A lot of people don't give people their flowers, but I could never do an interview about music production and not mention those guys' names.
That's crazy. You did Pushing on Bun's album too, right?
Yeah. I did Keep Pushing with the same sample that Kanye used.
Mm-hmm.
I whooped his ass with that motherfucking sample too.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. That 05 run was so crazy, dog.
Yeah.
Got to be a G was after that. Let me see. Talk about Ride on Foes.
Man, Riding on Foes.
That's one of the greatest Mr. Lee beats, and I'm skipping around because I skipped one of the other beats that I remember hearing for the first time and losing my fucking mind. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Ride on Foes.
Riding on Foes was a record that J-Dog had did. I think it was a mixtape record, actually, and it was done to Eminem beat. And Ray Face was always working in the studio. That damn Ray Face, he's like a miniature Big Chief kind of. He always driving you to work. So I actually did a beat to that record before I did the actual beat that everybody knows it for now. And it was cool. And Ray's like, it's all right. And so I ended up going back in on it, and we were sitting in my house, and I put that record. That's when those sounds really came. That's when it really came out, man. After I did the Get Throwed, I used it again in that. That's when I was like, okay, this is my sound. Yeah. Same kind of rock feel to it, all of that. If you notice it, you listen to that.
I ain't never even thought about this.
It's the same vibe, fam. Same grungy, rocky sounding shit with some 808 shit and hip hop shit on it. And that became my sound. Every time I use that shit, if I use that shit today, it's going to resonate.
Okay, let's talk about From the South.
What a classic.
Yeah. From the South was, I was actually singing on the background of From the South. From the South is one of the first records I did with a screwed hook in it. And it was a record that I did with a screwed hook in it before everybody else started using that shit. The back dens and all of that, I did that shit way before that happened. I was sampling those records off of a cassette.
It's crazy, and everything just fell in pocket to where it was like that became the sound. And
yeah.
Salih got it going on. You got it going on. That's what Houston is doing.
Yeah. I remember, man, T-Fast wanted that fucking track, man, the motherfucker. He wanted it, but Zero already had it. You know what I'm saying? So that's when that sound came out, man. That's when other people started doing the same thing and started sampling hooks. But you know what I mean, man, I'm not being facetious or anything, but I'm the godfather of that shit.
Talk your shit, man. Come on, man.
It's, you know what I mean? It's not a lot of people that it's an art to that. You know what I'm saying? For real.
It is art to it.
Yeah.
It is. You gotta make them make sense.
You gotta make it make sense. The only person that I learned that shit listening to UGK, man. Pimp C and Bun, man, them niggas, I don't think Bun really understand how deeply they played a part in me and my sound, man. They really did. I studied that shit, bro. Like them hooks Pimp C had in them fucking songs, bro. Screwed and shit. I studied that shit. That's why if you listen with me telling you that and you go back and you listen to my music, you can hear it all in there. I'm just like a big gumbo of a whole bunch of people that I just soaked everything out from them. You know what I'm saying? They influenced me heavily.
I'm so throwed in the game. Yep. What that motherfucking what that goddamn that pimpulation, bro? That shit, niggas they want to stop Pimp, they want to coming up, classic shit.
Yeah, that's
about that because Pimp come home and he goes to Mr. Lee,
bro. That's when he really understood. He said, "Man, you got the closest drums to mine I ever heard, man." And me and Pimp just we stay on the phone all the time, bro. This nigga would call me at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. We talking about music. You know what I'm saying? That's why when he died, I took that shit really, really hard, bro. Because I just talked to him before he went to LA, and I was gonna help him do another album. So, you know, we was getting our shit together. And, you know, he admired the things that I did, and I admired the things that he did. And we just used to talk about that music all the time. He said, man, you ain't scared to do some swinging shit and make straight drums behind it, man. He used to analyze the shit. And it was crazy to hear him analyzing my music, because I analyzed this shit all the time. You know what I mean? I wanted my shit to sound like that. That's when I really knew about N.O. Joe. You know, N.O. Joe, man, for real, bro, I don't think that N.O. Joe is another nigga that really ain't getting the praise that he need to get, bro. I'm just gonna say that shit. He just really don't, fam. Like, that nigga is a genius, bro.
The fact that has his hands in two of the greatest hip hop albums of all time, when you talking about the Diary and Riding Dirty, it's like that alone. On top of all the other shit he's done.
All that other shit, bro. I mean, the whole shit with being with Travis Scott at the beginning of his career and all of that shit, man. Like, that nigga really played a lot of part in doing a lot of shit, fam. And I honestly, I just don't feel like he get enough.
I don't feel like any of our producers do. Nah. I think Mike Dean moved around and made, you know, the right moves, strategic moves to get in places to get that. Though. Yeah, I mean, but all y'all undeniable. Yeah. But for me, and you talk about Houston and Texas sound, like our guys, bro, it's really a if you know type thing. And I feel like the talent here supersedes that idea.
Real talk, John Beto, another nigga, man. Like, I would not be sampling records without that dude, bro. I wouldn't even know. When I had a whole SR10 and didn't know that it was a sampler on it. I was playing keys on it, bro.
Oh, you were sampling all your sounds in, not really.
Yeah, I was just playing keys and doing different shit. So I was using the patches out of it. Okay. I wasn't sampling shit.
Because that's what I never the AR. So that's all before my time. But I thought you had to put your own sounds in. It did come with a few sounds. Yeah, they had discs
that you could put in and have rolls and drums and shit like that. But I didn't know the extent of what the sampling shit was about. You know what I'm saying? And I went to this nigga's house condo and saw him sampling records. And I'm like, what is that? And he showed me. And when he showed me that shit, bro, I became a master at that shit. So, you know, he's just another guy that's a real life legend when it comes to just music, period. Not just Texas music, hip hop music. He's a genius, bro.
Man, can you talk about, I want to go back to, you said talking to Pimp C before he passed, like right before he passed. What was his plans? Because I know like he had the deal on the table and all these things, but what was he really talking about, like really excited about doing?
I mean, Pimp C was on the path to try to establish generational wealth. Really, that's where he was at. He was getting focused. He was about to boss himself up and do some things on his own and stand on his own. He had, you know, some publishing situations that was about to take place. He was really about establishing himself in a super major way, man. He was really on some focus shit, for real.
If Pimp C survives, how does that change things out here?
I think that'd be a lot better. A lot better and a lot bigger, because Pimp C wouldn't allow the people that he work around not to get praised and not get that light that they need. And if they're not getting it, he's going to make sure that they get it. So it would have been a bigger pot than what it is now if he was here.
You know, man, I really enjoyed that you did, what is it, the Long Live Pimp C album? Yeah. What was that? That's the name of the album?
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about doing that, because I mean that was after he passed away, but that was still a really great album.
Doing that album, bro, I cried. It was a dope experience, but it was a hard shit for me to do, bro. Listening to that niggas laughing in between takes, breathing. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I felt him in the studio. I ain't gonna lie to you, I felt like I felt him in there, and I probably did. But it was weird, bro. Like, not having him here and then hearing the life on those reels was some crazy shit, fam. But I just did the best that I could, and I did me on there for Pimp. You know what I'm saying? I didn't try to mimic and emulate him on the records. You know what I'm saying? So it was a challenging situation sometimes, but I enjoyed it because I got the closure that I needed to get. Because mind you, I was getting ready to do a project with him before he passed away. When he came back, we was getting ready to get to work. And I was real close to him at that point. So I never got the closure until Beto hit me. It's like, yo, they're working on this last Pimp C album, and I want to pass it over to you. And that's how I ended up doing the album.
Shout out DJ Beto, man.
Yeah, that's my nigga. You know what I mean? DJ Beto, solid dude, man.
Okay, let's talk about the Don. I'll never forget the first time I heard "Got to Be a G," and I thought that was one of the most incredible. Like, you had already been on this run, but then you come with this thing. It's the hook is in there, the fucking beat, the bass, the synth bass or whatever that is, and like that shit just sounded incredible, dog.
Yeah, we were sitting outside the NOJO studio, and Key came up, and he had a cassette. He came up with the idea for it. And then he's like, "Hey, I need you to redo this." And he played that part right there, and I took it. And when he heard it, it was a rap. You know what I'm saying? And we got in, and he laid his verses to it, bro. And that song came out crazy, super crazy. I think I played that thing 100 times after I did it.
Yeah, that's timeless.
Yeah, it was jamming, bro.
Timeless.
Yeah.
Man, I got a couple things I wanted to ask you about Pimp and UGK. Rest in peace, Pimp C. Something I'd heard, I can't remember if Bun told me this or if it was someone else, that one of the things that Pimp was planning on before he passed was he wanted to make a blues album. Did you hear anything about that?
I didn't hear anything about it, but I'm not surprised though.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because he was so musical. I mean, it was so many layers to that dude, man. Like,
yeah.
You know what was so crazy intelligent about him is that he was Pimp C and Chad too.
Right.
Chad was a totally different person. Right. Chad was a real intellectual, kind of laid back kind of guy. And, Pimp C is the flamboyant one.
Mm-hmm.
It take a lot of, I don't know, man. It takes a lot for people to be able to understand and know how to cut the characters off.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of rappers don't know how to cut their rapper off,
mm-hmm.
and they get their rapper cut off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think a lot of people need to understand that and learn that, man. Like, you get caught up in that lifestyle of being a rapper or gangster, whatever it is, man, that shit ain't it all the time. Especially being in the
trying
streets.
to be a professional and shit.
Yeah, if you a millionaire, bro, and you in the streets, you playing, you crazy, my nigga. Like, you got too many opportunities to do things. You know what I'm saying? You can't straddle the road in that shit. It's too dangerous. And a lot of people think that it's dangerous being a rapper. It's not. It's dangerous being a gangster trying to be a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
It's what gets you caught up.
Which we see today, just playing out.
Yeah, bro. I mean, we seeing it. You know what I'm saying? That shit crazy. How dude got arrested and the shit that he going through. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit this not TV, fam. Life is.
Them folks gonna come get you. You get out here playing.
Yeah, bro. They looking at us any kind of way. So it's like, shit. You can't get out.
Give them a reason. Yeah.
And we also haven't asked you about Tupac yet. But the way I want to segue into it is, this is something Bun for sure told me, was that Face was the last person to record with Pac, and Face had a copy of Riding Dirty in the studio when they were making their songs together. And he said that Face played Riding Dirty for Pac, and Pac loved it, and that Pac was trying to start almost like a collective, like a conglomerate. And it was going to be Outlaws, Boot Camp Clique, and after Pac heard UGK, allegedly, he wanted UGK to be part of it. I don't know if you ever heard anything about that.
I never heard it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Because they were all talking about the same type of...
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then Pac just loved the music, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if people really look at Pac and the way that he rap, who do y'all think he rap like?
Yeah, it's Face. Yeah.
Face?
That's Face out there, yeah.
You know who he really rap like? Willie D.
Man, okay, now I got to go back and listen.
Listen to the way he drag his word, his demeanor. If you look at the PWA video,
wow,
and the demeanor that Willie D has, the way he's moving his body when he's rapping, the way he's he's got the same rap pattern that Willie D have, dragging the words and all of that.
It's crazy that you said that, because that era of Willie D always reminded me of Pac.
That's what it is.
Thought about,
that's what
Pac
it was.
Really was the
storytelling stuff that he got is undeniably Face. So he studied all of that. But if you look at Willie D, fam, and you look at Pac, you'll be like, man, is that Pac cousin or some shit? But that's where that shit originated. His whole body movement, everything, just like Willie D, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So how'd you end up getting the chance to do some stuff with Tupac's music?
Really through Rap-A-Lot, man. Just being the go-to guy, Rap-A-Lot, Outlaws came down and they worked and they did some projects with Rap-A-Lot. So I was able to get in the studio and work with them. And I got an opportunity to do a song over that Pocket did called Black Jesus. And the crazy thing about that song, I was working on a Kurzweil 2500 back in that time. And bro, I was waiting on them to bring the reels in. So they had security guards was gonna bring the reels in and all of this shit. So I'm just sitting there making the track waiting on them, bro. Scariest shit ever in life, I swear. I got in the studio, I made this track. They pulled the song up. I promise you, fam, I'm not making this shit up. They pulled the fucking song up and the beat matched the song, bro. I hadn't even heard the song. The song and the lyrics, the tempo, the key, all of that shit matched.
It was supposed to happen.
Man, that's fate.
It's crazy
That's
shit I ever
God,
saw, bro. It matched.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna come back to Texas, but how does a Backstreet Boy thing break that whole thing down?
That was a
bro, you sitting on some. You got some real jewelry over there at the crib, bro. I told you I was gonna come to the house, man. Come kick it with you.
You got to come over there and kick it with me, man. That was really like a remix. You know what I'm saying? Back in the '90s, remixes were big, and I was just like I told you about the Mary Jane record, the PWA, and all of that. It was a remix, and it stuck. You know what I'm saying? So that remix. It was on an extended version, and that album it is like 15 million.
Come on, dog. Come on, man. We talking about Texas, bro.
Yeah.
This is Texas.
It's at 15 million, bro. So, you know what I mean? That's like one of the biggest records that I've ever done.
Do you ever sit back and think like, wow, I really did that? Or is it just like, it just kind of what
the mentality that I got, I don't look back. I just don't look back. I just constantly looking forward, trying to see what's next, what I'm going to do next, how I'm going to transcend what I have into something else. I'm always looking forward. So, you know what I mean? I'm leaving that shit for my kids and my sons to do. I got 3 sons. All of their names are after my dad, like mine. So I'm just setting this up for my legacy so that they can have it and they can look back on it and say, wow, my dad was dope. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I'm just constantly trying to be better, do better things, do better music, do bigger music. That every time I wake up, that's what I'm striving to do.
Yeah. Can we talk about, because at this point, it'll probably never happen again, but that ABN album is some of the best, like, it's some really, really great music on there. Just, you know, Who's the Man? I never forget the first time I heard that. Whoa is still one of my favorite songs.
Yeah. That was me on the hook.
Wait.
Doing the Whoa shit, that was me. That's me.
Nah.
I sung on a lot of records, man, that people don't know I was singing on. To Get Your Mind Right with Pimp C, that's me.
Get Your Mind Right. That's not Pimp doing that?
That's me.
Man, stop it. Stop it.
I'm rapped on one of Scarface records.
Hell no, Mr. Lee. No, man. No.
Yeah, I was a rapper, fam. So, you know, the gangster shit record on the last
now Get Your Mind Right.
That's me, bro.
Nah.
If you hear when they come on and say, Mr. Lee, it's going down. That's why
I remember that, but I thought that was because you made the record.
Nah, I'm singing on that. That's me. From the South, that's me on there. From the South, that's singing that sings on there, that's me.
Wait, that's you on the From the South hook?
Yeah.
That's not, oh, wow.
No, it's a Fat Pat sample.
No, it's a Fat Pat sample.
Oh, okay,
I'm singing
okay.
under it.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
I'm singing under that.
Damn.
I did not know you was doing this shit.
Yeah, bro.
The layers.
Did you ever think to record these sessions back then? Because this is the type of this is why our people, bro, like the talent down here is enormous, and it's just not like, I feel like everybody should know this shit.
I wish I would have documented that shit now, but I was so involved into working, I didn't want to be.
It's about making a good song right now. It's about
that, and then it's about the environment, fam. I didn't want to be around niggas with cameras and shit and
back
all
then.
in your face. Yeah, I didn't want to do that shit, fam. But you know, the content, if I'd had the shit most of the shit I did back in the day, it's already a movie with me telling it. But if I was actually able to show a lot of that shit, it would have been tremendous, bro. If you could just been in the room to watch me do the records I was doing. Cause I play everything too. I'm like Mike. I don't play guitar, but everything else I can play that shit. Sax, flutes, piano, xylophones, any of that shit. I can play all of that shit. I was a drum major.
Yeah. What, you in the band?
Yeah.
Obviously. What'd you play in the band?
My major instrument in the band was the bass clarinet.
No shit.
Yeah.
See, I'm a band kid too, but I went for percussion, and I wish that I would have went for something a little bit more musical.
Yeah.
Like even as a kid, my mom used to damn near beg me to learn to play the guitar
Yes,
like Bobby Womack. I didn't want to play I wish I would have learned that fucking guitar when I was a kid,
Yeah,
bro.
I played in orchestras and shit. You know,
No, sure.
old bays and orchestras. I was in the McDonald's band, and I think it was it 1989, 90?
Oh, you was deep in that shit.
I was crazy, fam. I got my jacket. It's still in my crib. That bitch full of patches, fam. I was first, second chair every time I auditioned for shit.
This makes complete
And I was
sense.
the first black drum major in my high school.
Wow.
In a white high school.
Wow.
So
That was in Louisiana.
Yeah, it's a lot of history.
It all makes sense now though.
That's why you hear the orchestrated strings, all of that stuff. I was trained that way. You know what I mean? So that I can go from that to church to whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I still can't get over you singing "Whoa" though. I ain't moved past that shit yet.
Yeah.
I don't fucking believe it.
Yeah,
Whoa,
that's me, bro.
whoa, whoa. I'm off key, but
That's it.
If I had me a little water, I might have hit that hole.
I
You know
sung
what I'm saying?
on the Long Little Pimp too. The song with 8Ball and MJG and Pimp.
Man, come on.
That's me singing on that. I'm a producer, man, so we come up with the vibes. Man.
I know. I feel
Yeah.
you. I get a little jiggy too, but I
Yeah.
didn't know, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew you were a monstrous producer, but I didn't know you was fucking around with the vocal shit
I'm
too.
singing, bro. Singing and doing all that shit. Whatever needs to be done, I'm doing.
Man, you ain't seen "Whoa" dog.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, if I wish I could get those two niggas in the room to do an album again, it would be a tremendous thing today.
It would be
If
incredible.
we could do that.
But it's a great snapshot of like
Yeah.
that time.
People really
and,
underestimate how talented both of them guys are.
and they brought the best out of each other.
Yeah. Yes, bro. For real. You know what I mean? They musical like Trey. Man, making the beat for Trey for me is like doing a track for Obama, fam. That motherfucker is so meticulous about his music. I cannot. He's the only person that I can't one take with a beat. I don't care how jamming it is. He gonna hear some shit in. Hey, cut that shit down, fool. Take that one sound out. Put it. He gonna do something. But you know, he challenged me all the time. He like another version of Scarface. That motherfucker. He's gonna pull every string that can be pulled out of you when you making music for him.
Man, let's talk about that Zero Crack album though, because that's top notch hoes. And I mean, it was just so much shit on there.
Yeah. Top Notch was the one though.
That was the one.
You know, when I made that beat and I heard that motherfucker get on that track, man. Man,
Motherfucking Willie Hutch on that bitch.
Man, Zero melted that track, man. That nigga intertwined all
I stay
through
in
that
pimp
track.
mode.
Yeah. And he hard, man. Zero really is a person that need to be selling out arenas too, fam. And he's a genius too, and he know how to make tracks too. He knows music theory. That nigga's not just regular when it comes to that rap shit, man. That's why he's able to maintain and sustain the time, because he know the music.
I always say, like, when you talk about like talent, like I can tell you why Kiki's the best rapper. I can tell you why Slim is the best. I can tell you all these reasons. But when you talk about, like, I always say the most talented rapper in Houston, Zero, and probably Scarface is in there too, because they can run the whole studio.
Exactly. All of them. I mean, Trey too, because they rap and sing. You know what I'm saying? When you're a rapper, a singer, that's a double threat. And then when you know music, it's just a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And they all have that. Slim is just a nigga that just you give him a beat, Slim gonna make it happen on that track. I don't care what it is. When he put that baritone on there, it's over.
Yeah, yeah. And he got crazy work ethic, man.
Yeah. Still to this day.
Yeah. I mean, shit, you still producing with Slim. Y'all still doing classic
Man,
shit.
Slim is like one of the longest running artists that I've worked with in my entire career.
Okay, what is it about that? Because I feel like, I know y'all had records before, but like Boss of All Bosses, that's Slim Thug and Mr. Lee.
Yeah. That's when we became like the Snoop and Dre.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we was a tight family. We still are, fam. Like, we still that way. If anything happening with me, I'm getting a call from Ray. Or Slim go hit me on Instagram or whatever. That's like my family. Them niggas is like blood to me. You know what I mean? So it's like waking up in the morning and breathing when I do a track for Slim, because I don't have to. It's not going to be a second guess or question about it. When I send the tracks to him, it's going to come together.
We were just talking about Road, we talking about Slim, but it's a monumental moment on Boss of All Bosses with Associates.
Mm-hmm. That's when they got together. And it's a lot of stories like that. A lot of things happened in my house down here, fam. Like a lot of reconciliations, a lot of issues that were being had, all of that shit used to come to a head at my house. All those niggas used to come to my house and we'd sit down and we'd talking power and get the shit over with.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Even like I remember the night Hawk died. I never forget that shit. Hawk had left my house that day. And I got a call, said that man died, man. I called that nigga's phone about 50 times, bro. I did not want to believe it. And the crazy thing about it, he had a hat. He left his hat at my house. The hat was hanging on my microphone, bro. I bullshit you not. Excellent. Slim, Ray Face came over. I think Killer came over, and we just sat in the house and we just talked till like 4:00 in the morning. And I didn't touch that hat for like weeks.
I'm sure you still got it.
Yeah, I still have it. Bro. And we had did one song. The hard drives got messed up. We had recorded the song. His voice was hoarse, so he was going to come back the next day and record the record over. He didn't make it, bro. So I've endured so much in my career, being close to people, Hawk dying, Pimp C dying, Nip getting killed, another guy that I used to work with before I actually got to rap a lot got killed. It's just so much shit that went on that I had experienced throughout my career, bro. Like I get triggers now. When I see rappers get killed, you know what I mean? When Takeoff got killed, I was triggered. All of this shit just come back.
It wasn't until I started my podcast and I started like interviewing people and establishing relationships with y'all. And then it's like 5, 6 people I interviewed and died, and that shit be fucking with me.
Yeah.
And I think back to like a Lil Keke who's seen so many people in the Screwed Up Clique, or just people who've been in Houston. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, these people you got relationships with, you talking to with, and they just not here no more. That shit ain't normal,
man.
dog.
This shit is crazy. B King, bro. When B King got his success, I was part of B King's success. You know what I mean? I used to get B King beats all the time. He was doing whole projects.
Yeah, I did fucking Smile. Classic.
Yeah, all of that shit. So, he got his deal. Me and him had a disagreement. And I was mad, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I was mad, and I was like, damn, dude, you got a deal. You ain't fucking with me? What the fuck? What's going on? We got into it. We ain't talked to each other. We broke up. He followed me on Instagram, all this shit. He broke up. He was such a brilliant and genuine person. One day my phone rang and I looked at it and it was him. And he said, man, I'm not mad at you, man. He said, you just said some shit to me I didn't want to hear at the time. You know what I mean? I'm not mad. Let's get back to work. And I wanted to work with this girl. So I ended up started sending tracks over like a couple of months later and all of this shit. And we just had a good time. And he came over to my house, fam, like probably about 6 to 7 months before he passed away. And when I got that call, I was devastated, bro. I was like, man, I am so thankful to God that me and him reconciliated our friendship and we was able to laugh about it and all of this shit. I still got the recording on my phone. He's like, man, we back together now, man. So send those tracks over, yada yada yada. You know what I mean? But that just goes to the whole thing. When you got real friends, you can weather through things. You know what I mean? We might do some shit that ain't good. It might not be cool at the time, but if it's real, it'll sustain all of that. And I'm just so blessed that I was able to get to talk to him and share love with him and all of that. He was able to come to my house and sit around and vibe and all of this kind of stuff. And he was a big fan of my music and all of that too, and my work ethic and all of that. And, you know what I mean? So I was just really, really happy that I got a chance to have him at my home and we can enjoy each other like we used to. But, it just goes back to it, man. Life is short. You don't know what's going to happen, fam. You can't take nothing for granted out here. We black men, we already got things stacked against us all around us, whether it's walking out in the street and having to deal with a policeman that's misunderstanding what you are, adversaries and ops and all of this shit. We got all this shit to deal with on top of hypertension and bad health and diabetes and all of this other shit. So we got to wake up and really
treat each other better. And
yeah, because we disenfranchising our families, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got kids out here, fam. Like, if I'm not here for them because I'm too naive or selfish to make sure my health is good, then everything that I'm working for is frivolous at this point because I can't sustain and fulfill the things that I need to fulfill and live my life as long as I can if we're taking that shit for granted. Being out in the streets, trying to avenge somebody's death, fighting people and all of this shit. Man, nigga, when you out of high school, fighting days are over with. arguing and all of that shit, typing all on the internet, man. That shit.
Disagreements in general. I just feel like, bro,
that shit
grown niggas should be able to sit down and be like, hey, bro, this is how I feel. This is how you feel and work. That's the most gangster shit you can do.
It is what it is, because it's not one person in America that ain't done some shit they ain't supposed to be doing or done some fucked up shit. It's gonna.
We all deserve grace, so we all
gotta have it, bro. If you don't, the most powerful thing that you can have in life today is forgiveness, fam. That's the most powerful tool that you can ever obtain in this world today. Forgiveness. If Dirk had forgiveness, he wouldn't be in jail right now. If he know how to walk away from that situation that happened to his homie, he wouldn't be in jail, bro. His whole his family finna be devastated with all of this shit now, because he might not get out. You know what I'm saying? It's sad, but I hate to see kids do this shit. I'm 52 years old now, so my mentality is different. I got grandkids and shit. My son and my daughters are grown. You know what I'm saying? They been ready to live their life, and I'm just looking at this shit, and it's a weird kind of space that the world is in right now. The whole social media stuff, people having disagreements, arguing, and putting shit out on social media. That shit don't do nothing but entertain people. Don't get the problem solved. You know what I'm saying? If a motherfucker say shit about me on the internet, fam, I'm gonna block their ass and go back in the studio and go to work. I am not finna say one word. Because it ain't for what?
What are we doing?
Exactly. If you can't call me or get a hold of me, fam, I'm just like, all right, I'm good. And you know, we need more of that. That's why I'm trying to. You can constantly see it in Slim Thug's music. His vibe is different. He's trying to put good vibes out there. You know what I'm saying? He's not trying to feed his listeners with some shit that's not good.
He's definitely rapping on some like evolution shit, like evolving as a man.
Yes,
and you know,
exactly. That's why. You know what I mean? That's why I did the gospel album. I did it because I wanted to reach the kids. That's why I did it in a certain way, because I want them to be able to feel it and grasp the hold of it and listen to it. And it's a message in it. It's a spirit in it. You know, music is one of the most powerful things you can ever have. It can sway you this way or sway you that way. You know, so we have a responsibility as musicians, producers, rappers, singers, what we putting out there. We putting some shit out there, and once you put that shit out there, you can't get it back. Face is another motherfucker. He's been that way. When Face was talking about streets and drugs, it was the stories about the streets and drugs. It wasn't about popping pills and getting high and doing crazy shit or spazzing out and killing a nigga. He wasn't on that shit. You know what I mean? But right now, our genre of music is really one of the most powerful genres there is right now, because we control the narrative of shit in the streets, and that's powerful, man.
Yeah. No, that shit definitely is a soundtrack to everything these young niggas is doing.
Yeah, bro, for real.
Okay, I want to go back to something, and then we're gonna get out of Texas. But you said associates came together at your crib. Can you talk about that? Because that was a huge ass moment for Slim Thug and Zero to come together. That was huge.
Yeah. T. Farris, you know what I'm saying? T. Farris was instrumental in that. He and I came up with the idea for the record. And again, there go the rock shit again. So we put that record together. T. Farris is another motherfucker, man. Sometimes we'll get in there and work on the track, and he'll have a vibe for some shit, man. This motherfucker would have my brain cloudy. I was like, man, you know what, fam? We're going to go home, bro. And we're going to come back again, because I can't even get this shit out. What you trying to make me do, I can't really get it out. So we came up. He wanted the rock guitar shit in there again. So we came over the track, and Slim came over and Zero came over, and they sat there and they wrote that record out, man.
So they had already talked. They were already on the same page. That was just the first time of them getting in the lab.
Matter of fact, they was getting back together right after Hawk got killed. You know what I'm saying? So they were already kind of getting their shit back together then, and we solidified it that night when they came up to my house.
But then you did Gangster with them. I mean, bro, we be here all fucking day talking about these records, dog.
Just so many monumental things, bro. Like groundbreaking things that happened. It's a lot. I'm telling you, like in Mo City and Sienna Plantation, where my house was, a lot of major shit took place in that house, man.
Okay, this is my last boss of all boss, and then we're gonna get out of here. That's one of my favorite albums of all time. Oh, I got bumps and bruises to prove it.
Which one?
Down, 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 down.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I got J-Dog and fucking and Scarface on there.
I don't think that was me though.
That's not you doing it?
No, that wasn't me.
Bumps and bruises to prove. No shit.
No, it might have been TA or somebody. I think.
Really?
Yeah. I'm thinking it is. I might have to go back and listen to it, fam. Honestly.
I thought you did that. I could be wrong.
Man, I might. It might.
I gotta pull my credits up. I feel terrible for.
It might have been me, fam.
I done brought up another nigga record in the interview.
I did so many records. I'm like, I don't know one from the other.
Boss of all bosses, man. Bumps and bruises. I could have sworn. What's the name of that record? Hard. Yeah, you did that. It's called Hard. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I did do that.
Oh, I got bumps and bruises to prove it. The sample saying that shit.
Bro,
you don't know what I'm talking about?
I ain't had listened to
It's
that
one
record.
of your hardest beats.
I have not listened to that record in over 15 years.
That's how much heat he has.
I know what you're talking about now, though. I know what you're talking about now. Bro, do you know how many songs I got in my catalog? Just from Texas shit, I got over 1,000 songs, bro. 400 songs at Rap-A-Lot alone that came out. I'm not counting the shit that never came out. It's probably another 200-300 there.
Wait, you said 400 at Rap-A-Lot?
Alone, fam. Alone.
How many records have you registered? Because I know you talk a lot about, you know,
over 1,000. Literally, bro. I sold 30% of my catalog a year and maybe like 2 years ago, and it didn't put a dent in that shit at all, bro. I promise you.
That goddamn Mr. Lee, boy. Okay, all right. Nipsey, because that starts with the Got to Be a G instrumental, right?
Nipsey, yep. That's where Nipsey ended up doing the mixtape record to Gotta Be a G called RSC. And that's how I made him. I had a guy named Lee Resnick in New York that was my manager at the time, and he knew Johnny Shipes. And Johnny Shipes had Nip signed, and they found my beat, and they didn't know who it was at first. And he ended up finding out who I was, and he brought it to Lee Resnick, and Lee Resnick was like, yeah, that's my guy. I manage him. And I met Nip out in New York, and that's when we started working in New York. It's like, I think it was like the end of 2006. And it was the funniest shit I've ever seen, fam. Could you imagine going to New York and you're in a condo, and I brought one of my homies with me, and we sitting in the condo, we waiting on Nip to get there. I really didn't know nothing about Nip then. Nip walked up in this condo, man, that motherfucker looked like Snoop Dogg had been reincarnated. Man, I laughed my ass out. He's like, man, what? He said, what you laughing at? G? I said, man, nigga, I said, man, I ain't even trying to be funny. I said, but nigga, you look just like Snoop. He was talking like him with the cuz shit and all of that shit, bro. It was funny as hell, man. And I, I was ready to work. Mind you, you know how my work ethic is. So I came there with tracks. The crazy thing about it, the Blue Laces song was a Slim Thug beat.
I'm gonna tell you something. I had the Marathon mixtape, and I don't remember seeing the credits, but when I heard that, I said, this sounds like Mr. Lee.
Yeah, it was a Slim Thug beat. And at the time, Slim hadn't recorded the song. I think the song is on the Boss Hog Outlaws album. It came out called Lord I Know. Because, again, here go the Blue Laces. The Blue Laces record was done 2 years before it came out. Nipsey got out of his record deal, so the record didn't come out immediately. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when it came out on the Marathon. But that was a Slim Thug track. So all of the influences that I had from Kiki being instrumental in me meeting Nip, and then the influence of my music that I was doing with Slim influenced one of the greatest songs that he ever did. And then Tony Draper is the one that introduced me to Lee Resnick. So here we go again with these pieces. You see what I'm saying? There's so many pieces of people that helped me. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Tony Draper. I got to shout out Tony Draper because Blue Laces would have never existed without me being linked up with Lee Resnick. You know, I had so many people that always looked out for me and helped me. Tony Draper was one of those guys that put me with good people and solid people where I can flourish and do things and never asked me for shit. Never. Bro. Never said, hey, man, you get with Lee Resnick, you sell tracks, I need 10%. You know, I was sitting in Shady Records office before Eminem was ever super big. You know what I'm saying? I knew Paul.
Wait. You can't breeze over that.
We gotta talk about that.
Yeah. How do you end up there?
Because Lee Resnick homie, Riggs Morales, which is at Def Jam now, I think he like the CNR Def Jam or Atlantic, one of these record labels that he's at now. He was working over there with Peter. I sat on the couch, talked
Peter
to
Rosenberg.
Yeah, I sat and talked with him and all of that shit, man. I was in the room with a lot of different people, bro. Like the Iggy Azalea shit, to Justina from the
That's
Wild and
right,
Out
because
shit.
Iggy Azalea, what's my man? He brought her to you.
Wino.
Oh my God, I'm sorry, bro.
Talking
Wino.
about Wino?
No, sir.
Someone else.
That ain't how it happened. I discovered Iggy Azalea on MySpace when she was 16. The Iggy Azalea went from Australia to Miami, and then when she turned, because I told her, I said, I'm not going to work with you until you're 18 because I don't want to get in all of that other shit. You know what I mean? She showed up the day before her 18th birthday in Houston to work with me. And I started developing her, and it was another guy from Atlanta that I was working with, and Wino. I wanted Wino to write for because Wino's pen is crazy. And that's how he and her got together. You know what I'm saying? And the whole relationship thing happened and all of that shit.
And it just went on to be.
Yeah, but I discovered her.
What was it about Iggy Azalea that made you say, man?
She had the same type of aesthetics that Slim had. She had the attitude, the look, the height, all of that. And she was willing to learn. She was like glue. Anything that she hear and she was being taught, she was implementing that shit. A lot of people made fun of her, sounding like she's from the South, but she was being taught that. And she was a student, fam. And that girl, she had the will to make it. You know what I mean? She wasn't gonna take no for an answer. She wasn't gonna take not being at the top, and she got there. You know what I mean? I saw that in her before she came to the States. And you know, we used to talk all the time, and she got to Houston, and that's when the whole sound, the way you hear her now, that's how it happened. That's how it came about. All of that started in Houston.
That's crazy. I'm finna go to something, but you want to jump in, man?
No. Please.
Okay. Let's go back to Blue Laces too, because it was so dope that when Nipsey finally dropped his album, it is an incredible album. But the record that everybody was talking about was just Blue Laces too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, it just speaks to his character as a person. I was mad at Nip about that shit. You know what I mean? Like, Nip was having me sending him tracks and different shit like that, but he was so busy, you know, doing all of the stuff that he was trying to do. He really just didn't have time to get down here with me or, you know, get in the studio. So I would send him a bunch of tracks and I wouldn't hear from him. I just stopped sending him tracks, bro. I was like, man, I'm not finna send him more tracks. I ain't not hearing shit from this nigga, not telling me if that's the one or is this one. And then just out of the blue, one day he just called. And he said, hey, Unc, man, I'm closing the album out. You know I'm not doing this album without you. I'm not doing it. He said, I want you to redo Blue Laces over. And that's going to be the song that I use on every album that I do. It's going to have a Blue Laces on it. And I said, bro, give me a day. Let me get the original one out of my head, and I'm going to knock it out. I sent the track to him. He sent the fire emojis back. The next day, Nip sent me the song finished, bro. That dude ain't never sent me a song finished in a day. The original Blue Laces, it took months for that record to get finished. I didn't hear that record till like 3 months after we started on it. He sent that record right back, bro. And then like 2 days later, he showed me the shit with LeBron listening to it.
I mean, that record there, I mean, because you got the like, just talk about what that even means to you. You know what I mean?
This is Nip. This is how I you know what I mean, I keep him connected to me. You know what I'm saying? Out of all of the records and all of the people that I've ever worked with, this is how special he was to me, fam. And I'm gonna tell you why. It says a lot about a man's character and what they do and not what they say. When I did Blue Laces 2, I signed a contract. As smart as I am, when I did Blue Laces 1, I got control of that record. You know what I'm saying? I own 25% of that record. I did Blue Laces 2, they went through and they got it cleared. And when they got it cleared, they took 50% of the song. You feel me? So I signed a contract that said if that happened, I don't get no royalties, no nothing. That's what it said, fam. And they somebody must have brought that shit to Nip. Nip hit me up. I can show you the messages in my phone, fam. He hit me up and he said, man, the sample took the publishing. I'm going to give you half of mine. That's what he said, fam. And the Thursday before he got killed, his lawyers had emailed me And they was like, and they had these other people name on my track. I was like, why y'all got these other niggas name on my track? I did this track. Ain't nobody else do it. And the lawyer hit me back like, I don't even know why you talking about this shit. They took 50% of the song. You don't got no publishing on this song, so I don't even know why you asking. That's how he came back. And I hit it back. I said, well, me and Nip already made other arrangements on this track, so I don't know what you're talking about. So Nip ended up having his manager get into the conversation. He said, yeah, that's done. The 25% of the song goes to Lee. That weekend, he got killed, man. 2 months after that, I got a deal for those songs.
Wow.
Straight up. And that's why this tat is on my arm, because he did something for me that I could never forget ever in life, man. Just because he could have easily said, well, man, you signed a contract.
And the timing of it all.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Because if he hadn't did that, and I went to LA like a week before he got killed. And I was supposed to meet up with him, and I joked with him. He was doing so much other shit. I said, man, you all busy and shit. So I went over and chopped it over with Mike and Keys and Mars. You know, shout out to them. That's my homies. And I hit him up and I said, bro, I'm going to come back, and I'll just get with you when I come back. I want to get in the studio and work with you out here. And, bro, I would never understand in my life. it's emotional for me to talk about this shit, bro, fam, because I felt like I had the opportunity to see him one more time, bro. And I got on that plane and I left, and that next week he was dead, bro. He was dead. I found out about that shit on TMZ that he got killed, bro. And that was the most, out of all the shit I ever been through, that was the most devastating thing that I ever had experienced in my entire life, bro. I can't even, I'm emotional about this shit because it's, you know what I mean? I'm really still trying to deal with it, bro.
yeah. Because it's a thing to have a relationship, and then it's unfortunate we see it play out, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know what I mean? It's crazy, bro.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle,
Yeah.
man. Rest in peace. Well, man, you've done so much. What means the most to you in your catalog?
You know what? I think it's probably 2 or 3 things. It's hard for me to even pinpoint one because I have so many contributions to it. But as being a producer on my own, Slim and Kiki, the work I've done with those 2 guys mean everything to me because they solidified me as Mr. Lee. They worked with me and it allowed me to build my foundation with them. You know what I'm saying? So Slim and Kiki probably like the most important pieces of my whole entire career, really. Yeah.
You got something, man?
I literally made a list of all the songs I want to ask you about. That's how many. This, and I couldn't even fit it all on.
Oh shit.
There's some Slim songs that I want to ask you about. Do we want to save that? Okay.
Is it for that peak for that time
Yeah,
period?
yeah. Okay, we'll save it. I also wanted to ask you about. I feel like I just got to throw a dart here and see what I come up with. Down with Us, Scarface.
Yeah.
To me, that's such a classic.
Yeah.
And an homage to the old school. You know what I mean? Can you talk a little bit about Down with Us?
Down with Us was a record that I did with N.O. Joe.
Yeah.
Those drums on that record is N.O. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's why that record sounds so good, man. Like it was a melting pot, man. We used to get in the studio every morning and just work on shit. And what made those songs so great, we did them over and over. Mm-hmm. That wasn't even the original track to that record.
Oh wow.
You know what I'm saying? We went in and we just kept doing shit until we found it. And I think that's what the music lack now is. The integrity is not there because people don't take the time to listen to what they're doing and really get the best out of what they're trying to do, man. It's like you just do a record and then it's like, okay, mix it, push the levels up on it, and let's run it to one of the DSPs and y'all go stream it right now.
Right. It's
you know
like
what I mean?
quantity.
But there's no creativity in it. That's why the record labels are in trouble. You're in trouble because you're going after hype. You're going after likes. You're going after content creators, which that's all good.
We making music though.
Yeah, but it ain't music though.
Mm-hmm.
So when you don't develop an artist to be like a Chris Brown, a Kendrick Lamar, a J. Cole, them type of people, then it's the jeopardy is not going to be there. You know what I'm saying? And I really think that I hope that the industry goes back to the producer like it was. In the 90s, it was with the producer. Now it's with the A&R, and you got, executives that are
looking at
online.
metrics and all this bullshit.
Yeah, they looking at algorithms instead of looking at the music, bro. Like now we're in a shit face type of situation because the labels are failing. You got DSPs that's giving you pennies on the dollar, and you don't have no negotiations with that shit. It's just what it is, man. I think that's one of the reasons that compelled me to write my book, because I wanted people to understand the business that they're in and the narratives of what's going on around them. Contract wise, all of that shit. I put every single deal that I ever had in life in that book.
Let's do a quick pub on the book. Where can I get the book at?
You can get it on Amazon, and you can get it on Barnes and Nobles. Hard copies,
what's
PDFs,
it called?
whatever it's called. Give them the biz.
Give them the biz.
Come on. You got the mic on?
I think that's what I got.
Man, okay, so we're going to do this. You work with the greatest that this city and state got to offer. H-Town top 5 all time.
Why, man, is this man doing this shit to me? You already know the number one is Scarface. That's number one, bro. It ain't nothing better than I don't care. Scarface is like the number one in the world to me, rapping, fam. Everybody's came to rap for him. DMX, Nas, Jay-Z. Everybody has a piece of that.
That's your rap father, yeah.
That's it. Yeah. I don't know why people can't understand that shit. That's what it is. You can say Rock, you can argue Rakim, but I don't think
Rakim's influence ain't seen like Face's influence.
It's not, fam. So you got Scarface. Shit.
I got a feeling at least 3 of mine gonna be in your 5.
I'm gonna put Pimp C and Bun together.
Okay.
I'm gonna put them together.
Okay.
You got Slim. You got
the Don. You got to put the Don there.
Man, you got to have Kiki there. I mean, but it's that shit don't even seem right to me because I feel like Zero.
You missing hella people. Yeah.
I feel like Zero need to be in there, fam. I really feel like Zero need to be a number 2 on that shit on that list, kinda. I mean, honestly, if you're talking about talent, creativity, you cannot.
Yeah, he gonna give you the verse, the hook. He might give you the beat too, man.
I might have to put 2 niggas on each spot, fam, because it's hard to say a top 5 greatest of all time rappers from Houston and not put Zero in that list. I just can't do it. I mean, it's hard. I would have to say Scarface, Bun, Pimp, Slim, Kiki, and Ro. I'd have to put it there.
Fair enough.
But then I just argue and say Travis Scott. Who's bigger music festival than him in the world? Who does it? We got, man. I mean, Houston got. We got
it out here, man.
We the Mecca, man. We got that whole shit right now, man.
Can you talk about this shit? Because Houston was on before Atlanta, motherfucker. Yeah. You can't look at it now and tell that. But
bro,
Houston
we the hustle city of the United States, fam. Ain't no niggas out hustling us, making music. You know what I'm saying? Because we could do this shit right here. We don't have to go nowhere else. Mm-hmm. I stayed in Houston, bro. I got like 42 million records under my belt now. I got 40 plaques, man. 42 plaques. I've been getting a plaque for every decade that I've been a producer, bro. And I have a record that's played on the radio around the United States and the world every single day to this day, right now.
You talking about 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and you still in the 2020s, put it down.
Been doing it every decade. A lot of people can't say that. I had a single on the radio for 19 years in a row before I stopped. When I moved to Dallas, I went in hiatus, and that's when it stopped. But I had a single for every year, for 19 years in a row.
The GOAT, man.
So, you know what I mean? It's Houston, we got that shit, bro. We don't get enough credit for it, though. I think we honestly, we need to start celebrating our own people more than what we celebrate. Don't celebrate it when they die. You know what I mean? A lot of great people have passed away and they ain't getting their flowers. You know, ESG, I think we need to lift him up. You know what I'm saying? Zero, we need to definitely lift him up. Trey, we need to lift him up. I don't care how you feel about the shit, what happened, all of that
No,
shit.
you got to give it up.
Give it to them, man. You know what I mean? On a humanitarian level, on a music level, all these people need to be rewarded.
These are our people and they hella important to us.
We need it. You know what I mean? The people outside the BET Awards and the Grammys and all of these people, they don't recognize us enough. I get Grammy nominations for shit that's outside of Houston. But, you know what I mean? Slim should have got a Grammy nomination for the shit he did, but he didn't. You know what I mean? He should have. But it's the politics in it. And I'm dibbling dabbling with the Grammy shit now, and I understand what it's about. We're not empowered enough. I seen Paul was in it, and he might still be.
Paul is in there for sure. Yeah. He's a governor right now.
Yeah, we need
chapter.
voters. Yep. You know what I mean? It's all about the considerations for the votes for this. That's why a lot of records and artists that you don't even know get Grammys, because they are getting the considerations and the votes. I started going to the parties. I went to one in Tulsa, and I actually got to sit there.
Wait, you were at just like a month ago?
Yeah, I was there. I think I saw you
there.
I
was there.
With the band that was in the corner.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I saw you there, fam. I was with Bots, D-Bots.
Man, I hate that I didn't know what you look like, man.
Yeah,
I feel bad
bro.
now. My bad.
I was there. So I got a chance to look at this shit, and I was like, this is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like my gospel album, I'm going to drop it next year. So I'm going to go for the consideration next year instead of this year. And my plan is to do 10 singles off it. I have 21 songs on this album.
And there's some jamming shit too. I want to say this, but you don't know how I really appreciate when the Mr. Lee takes come through and he say, "Hey nephew, check this out."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the shit be fucking fire.
You're the tastemaker. I want to know what you think. You know what I'm saying? I like input. A lot of people think, okay, it's Mr. Lee, and I can't. Man, I have no name niggas that I make beats for, and he's like, man, that shit ain't fire, and I'm gonna go back to the studio and do it again, and I'm gonna make them eat them words though. You know what I'm saying? I love that shit. I love when a person say, hey, this is not jamming. Oh, it's not? Okay.
Now I got a challenge.
Yeah, now I'm finna bust your ass with this next one. And it's like, oh man, this shit. Yeah, that's what it is. So I just love doing that shit. You know what I mean? Over and over. Like today before I came here, I made 10 tracks before I came here.
Before you came to the H?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, I got up this morning about 9, and I worked till about like 11, 12.
You making complete tracks when you say these 10, or you just throwing ideas and they coming
tracks.
back?
Done. 10. Done.
I ain't gonna lie, Mr. Lee, you make me feel like shit, bro.
I'm telling you, I haven't worked
really
every
make me
day.
feel like shit
I
right
haven't
now.
worked every day, and I have 160 tracks done right now. And I haven't worked every day. I probably work once or twice a week, if that.
Yeah, I really feel like an underachiever over here right now.
Got to get to it, fam. I mean, when you think about it and you understand what it is and what derives from it, it's inventory, it's content, it's shit that we can control. Mm-hmm. Now I'm 50, I'm have to reevaluate how I'm doing things, and now I'm an owner. I'm a partner now. You're not going to get my music and say, it's work for hire, I'm going to give you this money, or I'm going to control the master and your music too. No, my nigga, you
we
can
gonna
have
own
that
this
master,
together, yeah.
But I'm going to, the composition, the music by itself is mine. I'm going to own that completely. And the reason why I'm saying that, and y'all better listen to what I'm telling y'all, man. Listen to what the fuck I'm telling y'all. A lot of people going to tell you, no, you can't do it. I've done this shit 1,000,000 times. I control the composition of that master. The music by itself is mine. If somebody samples a record that I do right now and they just use the music, I can get the master fees for it up front, and I can clear it myself and go past all that other shit because I own the music.
Can you give that game, or is that something that we got to talk about off camera? How do you get around that?
What you do is when you do the producer deal, it says in there that the master is a work for hire. And then it's either going to say including the composition or not included. You want it to not include the composition so that you can have control of that music by itself. And you can license that shit the way you see fit to license it outside of that master. And that's how you do it. So I learned a lot of game with this shit. Even sampling shit. Like I sampled a record on Long Live the Pimp, and it was a mint condition record, matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
And
dun, dun,
yeah,
Brown Eyes. Mm-hmm.
That was another Get Throw vibe. They wanted, I think, like 20,000 to clear that shit. But I sampled that shit off of YouTube, off of live performance. So I found out that's
a different master.
That's
way
not
different.
y'all master.
Yep.
So that 20,000 went to 3,500. So if you find,
I appreciate that game right there. You just dropped an ounce of game right there. That one little bit.
If you find live performances of records, they're not the record label's masters. That's why you hearing artists that are disgruntled about the record labels owning their masters, and they said, you know what?
Redo my shit.
I'm gonna re-record this shit. Not in my by nature just did the shit. I'm gonna record my shit and sell it myself. And I'm gonna own this master.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always a workaround that shit, but you got to be smart enough to understand that there are so many money streams when it comes to music that people don't understand, fam. Publishing is one of the most significant part of your career. Why is it? Because with publishing, you can get health benefits from it. You can get discounts from that, from your subsidiaries like BMI and ASCAP. You can get loans on future publishing without selling your shit. They got entities out here, Sound Royalties. Shout out to Sound Royalties. They would work with artists and give you future royalties in advance. So that's just like having an IRA. You know what I'm saying? I've been getting paid off of past work that I've done for years, for decades. I'm averaging like $100,000 or more off of publishing payments alone, just the semi-annual checks alone, fam.
That's a blessing, man.
Yeah. These kids need to know this shit. You know what I'm saying? All these producers out here with the beats like this, a beat like that shit, and y'all selling y'all records for $20 and then a nigga get it and it's a mega hit.
Nigga went platinum on your shit. Yeah.
You don't have nothing and then there's no back end for you. All those little records, all these little records that I do for independent artists, all of that shit stacks up. It turns into $1 to $10 to $50 to $100 to $1,000 to $10,000. It keeps going. The more you build it, the more it keeps going. But if you never register your shit, you don't have proper administration, there's no way that you can even exist in the latter parts of your career if you do not take care of that shit. I'm telling you, man, like, I hope everybody's listening to this shit because there's so many talented people with accolades that are bigger than mine and they are broke, fam. And they don't have no way of reaching goals and doing shit because they don't have no
shit wasn't handled the way
no way that they don't have nothing to lean on. And then sometimes you could be too prideful with your prices. And independent people can't afford a $25,000.
That's what I was gonna say. Talk about that because that's a thing. Like you lose a placement just off trying to get the money right here when you could have got way more money on the back.
Exactly. You know what I mean? You have to put that pride aside. You know what I mean? I'm older now, so it's young niggas out here thriving and doing shit, and they getting their money, and that's fine. I'm gonna fit in where I fit in. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta know how to do. It's a business. Is what it is.
Is there a record that you got in your way of doing because you got ahead of yourself?
No. Because I won't do it. You know what I mean? I'm always looking at this shit like a business, so I'm always nurture people. My thing is, when I do records like that for people and I give it to them at a price they can afford, I'm building with them. Because 10 years down the road, they may open up a door that I need opened up. I may become an executive because I'm dealing with that. You know, even like Ludacris, helping him out when Ludacris was still a DJ at the radio station. I was working with him.
Wait, how'd you connect with Ludacris?
I linked
you going down a whole other rabbit hole now. Wait, hold the fuck up. What?
I knew a lot of people. I knew a lot of people in Atlanta that knew him. You know what I'm saying? And he was trying to get in. All of that shit still passed through Rap Light. He was trying to get a meeting with Rap Light and all of that shit too.
He had a song on the compilation.
I produced it. I produced that record.
Come on, man.
And that's how we linked up. And I mixed a couple of records for him.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, man. That's my guy.
Nah, I don't believe that.
Yeah, bro.
What's it called?
I forgot the name of the song.
Hold on, I'm pulling it up now. Nah, you ain't finna tell
one
me
of my
this.
people is at the door.
You got someone here?
Yeah, they're at the door.
Wait a minute. Nah. I don't believe this, Mr. Lee.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Matter of fact, me and Face produced it.
Was that when Face was at Def Jam South?
That's when he was just getting over there. That's how I got linked in with it.
Okay.
Because remember, he ended up signing it.
Right. Damn.
Wait a minute. Where's the back at?
The song with Goody Mob on it, I did that one too. With CeeLo on it.
Mm-hmm. Man, come on, bro.
Yeah, bro. That's the first album I mixed too. That was mixed horribly, but I mixed it. That shit was horrible. I listened to the shit and I'm like, oh my God, take my name off. I ain't know what this. I was just in that bitch trying to learn, and they put me on that board, man. I did the best I could at that time, but
You got through it.
yeah, yeah, it was horrible though.
Is there anything you've done so much in hip hop? Is there anything in hip hop that you want to do where you like, man, I really still kind of
Nah,
want?
man. I mean, bro, when you talking about Scarface, man. I've done records with LL Cool J that ain't never came out. I got Nipsey Hussle. I did records with Jay-Z. You know what I mean? It's like so many legends that I've worked with. I fulfilled everything that I need to fulfill right now. I think my purpose now is to teach and educate, and I'm finna get into the television shit for a little while. But I really want to just retire in the next 5 years and play golf every day. That's what I want to do.
That's the life, man.
But I want to make sure I set my family up to where they don't need money ever again in life. You know what I'm saying? I want to taste what that wealth feel like, man. That's what I'm thriving for. I'm hungry for that shit right now. And anybody know that when I'm hungry for some shit, I'm gonna get it, fam. I'm gonna eat and sleep until I get that shit. For real. Real talk.
That's what's up. Well, man, you got anything before we close out, man? Mr. Lee, bro, I appreciate you, man.
Man, I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate this conversation. Like I said, you just hit me random with certain shit, bro. I always just appreciate to hear from you, man.
Yes, sir.
An architect of the sound of the city. Come on, man.
Yeah, the architect. That's Nip gave me that name.
Yeah.
He gave me that name.
Oh,
man.
that's perfect.
So
Then.
that's what I use now. I'm Mr. Leader Architect. That's
There you go, Mr. Leader Architect. Sama'an, I'm Donnie Houston. It's Donnie Houston Podcast, man. We're up out of here.
100.
Donnie Houston.